Hey, welcome to another episode of Your Faith and Health Community. I'm your host, Pastor Jackie Jackson, and as always, on behalf of myself and our producer, Anita Alexander, we want to thank you very much for taking out time from your day to spend with us. Hopefully, prayerfully, we'll give you some information that will change your quality of life. If you had health insurance, you pay your copay and whatever your deductible, part of your deductible, or pay your deductible, and it's all done. See, I'm just pointing this toward young people because you need health care. Don't wait till you get my age. I mean, I'm 35 or 60, one of the two. I'm in there somewhere. Don't wait till you get my age and then decide you need health care. You need health care whether you're 18 or 80 because you don't know when you might end up at a hospital or sick, or God forbid you end up with COVID or the flu. So get insured. I'm done. Believe it or not, I know you're like going, really? Is he done? Then he's done. Why is he still talking, right? Okay, I'm going to stop talking about it. We are here with the Urban League of Greater Southwestern Ohio, mainly the Community Police Partnering Center. Let me say that again. The community, that's the part I want you to, the main part I want you to hear, is the Community Police Partnering Center. Let me say it again. The community, collaborate, together, unity, inclusive, the Community Police Partnering Center. And we're here with Mrs. Smoot, who is the Executive Director of the Community Police Partnering Center, with Elder Tony, who is an outreach advocate, with Tiffany Brown, who is an engagement specialist, and with Derek Rogers, who is a community outreach advocate as well. So welcome back. Hope you guys had a chance to rest up a little bit. So I want to jump back in because I want to use up all this time that we can to talk more about this organization. So the Community Partner Center, the outreach advocates came to the team, became a part of the team in December, right? Or yeah, in December. So December of 2019, because there's a lot of December. So December 2019. So why don't I just throw that to you and you just talk a little bit about that?
We were excited in December when we were asked if we would like to include the outreach advocates as part of the Community Police Partnering Center. We were excited because we need to have people in the community who understand the community, working with the community. And the outreach workers had been doing that for a good amount of time. And so they help us to address those most violent problems that we may be addressing. And so it completed the circle for us. It helps us to look at all aspects of crime in our community and to look at ways that the community can get engaged to address those issues that are not police issues, but are community issues.
Okay, so that becomes an all-inclusive package right there. It's like you have everything that you need or all the bases covered to be able to engage with the community. I know with the advocates, one of the big things or I think one of the important things is having that relationship in the communities, especially those relationships in the community with some of the people that not everybody wants to deal with, right? I mean, I hate to put it that way, but I remember times sitting in my office with one or two people sitting in there that I know they got weapons because they already told me that they're sitting there with weapons, or dealing with young men and women coming home, that reentry. We know that if they're not able to get training, if they're not able to get employment, if they're not able to get assistance, that's going to be a turnaround where they're going to end up right back where they're coming from if they're coming home from incarceration. So I know that with the advocates, that's an important conversation in a lot of areas that a lot of people don't want to go in. A lot of people want to do the work, or they want to talk about the work, right? But they don't want to go into these areas and have the conversations with the team. So I'm like, wait, but here's leads up to my next question. The zone. There's a zone, and I don't know what your zone is, but who's going to tell me? Derek's going to tell me about the zone, but getting into that particular part of the zone where people don't want to go, what Tiffany was saying, going in some cases and identifying the crime, not just the crime. We know there are more issues in the community, and especially inner city. And I think that's something that really irritates me, that when people talk about the inner city, they say black, and there are more people than black. There are more people than black people in the inner city. And then they talk about crime, when there are a lot more issues in the inner city than just crime, although this past weekend doesn't necessarily help to steer that down. But still, what is the zone? And am I on the right track, or am I like way in another country?
You're coming into the borders. I mean,
Okay.
at least you're not in another country. But In the Zone is actually a Facebook Live show that airs every other Monday. And with that, it's kind of like a raw conversation in a barbershop setting.
In an actual barbershop?
Yeah, an actual barbershop shop setting where we do still practice social distancing and making sure we're safe and not having too many people in the shop. And sometimes it's on Zooms, so it just depends on that particular week. But we're there, and we're just conversating about community issues, conversating about things such as the coronavirus issue with the pandemic that happened. We're talking about violence reduction. So we're talking about everything that you would talk about at a barbershop. I mean, sometimes it's uncensored. I mean, we try to keep it clean, but some people express certain things differently. So it's kind of like that real raw feel that you have in those barbershops.
But not everything you talk about at a barbershop.
Well, not everything.
Okay.
Not almost. Well, in the particular matter of violence reduction. So we try to keep it there. We may talk about some other things. Sometimes we may hit sports. Or who do you like tonight? But for the most part, it's really involving the work that we do. And so you need to come check it out. It's on the Community Police Partnering Center Facebook page. For those that don't know, just look at the Facebook page and look for the Community Police Partnering Center, and we'll definitely send you an invite if you ask. That's not a problem. And but yeah, it's pretty good. It's real good.
So is this program, this show, is it a controlled environment, or are people just coming in and out, so you could end up with anybody in the shop, or is it for that particular show it's like closed out?
Yeah, because of COVID, I would prefer it would have been an open environment, but just for the purpose of COVID, we had to kind of close it off. It seems like Mondays is a national holiday for barbershops, so on Mondays, that's when we actually that's why we pick Mondays to do the show, so we can have that barbershop closed off, relegated for a few people that's having those conversations. And by the end, we're trying to come up with different solutions where the community can get involved and actually do the work, because you can hope all day for violence reductions or some of the violence or some of the things that's stopping your community. You can hope for that and have desires to as a resident of the community. And our job is to provide those opportunities. But if you don't take that choice as an individual in that community to actually take advantage of some of the resources that we may have to offer, then you'll just be sitting there talking about it and not really getting involved or engaged to actually bring change to your particular community.
So let me ask you, so when you're having these conversations in the shop, are you also, so you're talking about the issues and what could possibly go. Are you also, through that program, offering the programming that's available through the policing, the Community Policing Center, or through the Urban League? Is that something also a part of that conversation?
Absolutely. For those that may watch, we also jot out resources. And those that we have a saying, hope, opportunity, choices, and consequences. So for those that may be looking for resources to turn their life around, whatever that may be, if that's their desire, we present them with the opportunities, and we'll say some of the opportunities on the show, but we don't give out specifics because we actually want them to call us so we can have that one-on-one conversation with them. And then if they like the opportunities and they really want to change, then they'll call the Urban League's number or our number that we have specified, for on the flyers or some of the information, and then they'll get with us.
Okay, so it's called
In the Zone.
and it's on Facebook, but you're saying, so you also do a Zoom, so it's interactive then?
It's interactive as well. So you have some people come in with comments, at the bottom on Facebook. Sometimes we're able to answer those during our live conversation. If not, we'll have somebody get back with them, or respond back to them after the show.
Okay.
And Derek does a good job of having guests in the barbershop.
Right.
You're the host?
Yes.
You're the host. All right. I'll have to check out your show, In the Zone,
Yeah.
so I can get in the zone.
Please do, because we're going to invite you in the zone.
Oh, I do need a haircut.
I was going to say that, but since you said it, it's okay now.
All right, thank you, Derek. Elder Tony, let me talk to you about how you or the team or the partnering center, the advocates, how the advocates engage or how you engage the community in your work.
We actually realize it's easy to get stuck. See a situation, think it's the norm, don't see any way out, and because of our various backgrounds, we haven't always been in this particular place in our lives, but someone had to give us a chance. Like Mr. Rogers talked about the hope. We were at once at a place where we didn't see any hope. We didn't see any different choices. We didn't see any different other consequences other than death or jail. But then somebody continued to work with us and made us realize we were bigger and better than our particular situations at that moment. So we collectively realized that if somebody didn't give up on us, we can't give up on them. So we go out, we're their boots on the ground, where we go to the community. We have a model where we meet them where they're at. We don't expect just because we have a building, we have an office, everybody's gonna come to us. So we go to them, let them know that regardless of where you're at, first, we love you. Second, there are resources to help you change if you want to, and we'll be willing to actually walk through those changes with you.
Okay, so I want to kind of touch a little bit on the work in the community. This past weekend, I remember the most I remember shootings at one time, and I think that was like when I first joined the team, when I was a part of the team in 2016, when we had those 11 shootings over that 24-hour period. This weekend just surpassed that by just leaps and bounds. After all of this that's been going on in the community, how are you seeing the work now? And it's only a few days, I know, but leading up to it, because the city has been building up to a high rating of shootings and homicides this year. And you would have thought during COVID, when everybody was shut down, you would have thought that things would have died down, but we know that wasn't the case. So how is that work looking now with COVID? And with this major spike, especially since I was listening yesterday, and I think it was yesterday, and the chief and someone from the federal building or whatever their position is talking about potentially bringing in the feds. So how is that work looking now on the street or engaging in the community, rather?
Actually, Ms. Moot and the rest of the panelists made a great point when we said partnering. We realized this situation didn't start by one person or one group. And this situation isn't going to be resolved by one group or one particular person. So where we're at with the pandemic and where we're at in society now, it has forced us to come out of our silos and work with one another. Because what I can't do well, someone else might. So it's opened the doors to allow those bridges to be fostered, those relationships, the social capital, to connect with one another, to realize we need to move forward, but we're only going to be able to do it if we work together.
And so are you seeing that working? So I understand like working together as a team, as the partnering center, but are you seeing that working together? I'm gonna shoot this to Tiffany, because you are the engagement specialist. Are you seeing that working together in the community, is that really flourishing? Because it's always our dream that we can work together, that we can be partners and we can drive toward the same direction. But are you seeing that?
Yes, I have seen it and contributed to working with teams that do that successfully. It's not just us. We employ other resources such as the CRC, such as the city.
What is the CRC? So
the Cincinnati Recreation Commission. When it comes to parks, issues with parks, we kind of collaborate with everyone. Usually those meetings include Cincinnati Police Department, It includes CRC if they're involved, other organizations, social service organizations who need to be involved. But what I would like to say is that sometimes, situations are hot, and we have the community outreach advocates who do a lot of the initial work with calming those tensions down, and then we're able to all sit down at the table or in a Zoom meeting or whatever the case may be to work toward problem solving.
So that part is good.
Yes.
And what I like that I keep consistently hearing, whether it's in the zone, whether it's in the community running this partnering center or in the engagement, is constantly talking about partnership. I think a lot of times people forget that partnership and relationship, right? Because you can partner with somebody, but if you don't have a relationship with them, relationship goes a long way. Right, partnership is the tech. I'm gonna call it that's the technical part. Technically, we become partners, but if there's no relationship, a good working relationship, and a good understanding of what's needed, like you said, going out and doing and surveying or getting an assessment, then how does that relationship work?
So that's the brilliance of what the collaborative agreement set for us as a city. They said we would use problem solving as a way to address our issues. And problem solving takes time. When we use our SARA process, it's not always one meeting. We scan, we get everybody's opinion. We try to find out what everyone sees. We analyze it. That means we pick it apart. We use data. We use observation. We use all the tools that are available to us to find out what's going on. And then we agree on what the root cause of the problem is and how we're going to respond to it. And that takes time because you have to hear other people's perspective, understand it, not always agree with it, but understand it, and then move to a place where you're working for the best possible outcome for your community. That's relationship building.
That's that the key to anything working is building that relationship. I want to address this question at you too. As we move forward in this in this culture, in this situation that Cincinnati finds itself in, that seemed to kick off this year. I mean, we've always had shootings and murders, again, to go back to that, but unfortunately that's a conversation we have to have. What, as much as you can say, and I don't want, I try to be careful with stuff like this because I don't want to ask questions that you may have, you don't want people to know that you're trying to do to get, before you are ready to roll them out. But what are the steps right now, or the idea, the plan for the advocates to engage, re-engage, or whichever one, the men and women on the street? Because one thing I know, and with Everytown for gun safety where I work, we're always having these discussions around the effects of trauma in the communities, because trauma is that's the thing that people talk about but seem to forget that actually is there. And that is spurring on a lot of the things that go on. People are traumatically affected. The children are traumatically affected because of, unfortunately, the violence that we see in the community. So we're always having these conversations engaged around the traumatic effect of it, and how can we as an organization, because our organization is focused on the survivor, which is why we're called Everytown Survivor Network. So our focus is on the survivor. Moms Demand Action for gun safety we're the umbrella over them, which is legislative. But when we start talking about how are we working with people, how are we getting people to have hope when you don't have hope? Because that's part of the problem. Sometimes we have a lot of people who don't have hope. I remember when we were doing outreach, and we have kids going, I'm living my best life now. You're living your best life. You are living your best life now for a kid, but that shouldn't be your focus forever. So is there a plan right now to get the community engaged and to especially to those who need the help the most?
Yes, it is. And that's why we go back to the focus is to get out there. It's always hard for people to accept change from someone they don't feel that they have any sort of similarities with. If I don't see myself in you, or I don't believe you have a vested interest in me, it's easy to shut off. But as the outreach team, we're all working together. We collectively go out there. We connect with the people, with our stories, with the situations, and be that example that if we can change, you too can change. We're not better than anybody else. It's just somebody helped us. And it doesn't always have to be someone that looks like us. So we let them know the resources. If you want to change, we not only will point you in the direction, we'll hold your hand and walk with you too. We'll make whatever adjustments that you want to make. And we'll show you. We'll connect the dots. We'll point you in that direction and assist you on the choices you want to make. We let them know that we care. We let them know there are resources. We let them know that there is a better way.
So-
And Derek, would you share about our violence prevention resource fairs?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna piggyback on that, but yeah, we got the Violent Resource Fair coming up, the next,
28th.
Yeah, the 28th.
Of this month.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, next week, right, next week.
Next Friday.
So we do have that where it's all about violence prevention. And we use, like I said, we use our HOC example, which HOC stands for Hope, Opportunity, Choices, and Consequences. So we're letting the community know if they bring the hope, then we're gonna provide the opportunities. And a community that's strong, the violence won't last long. So we want everybody to come out and join us at our resource fair coming up on the 28th in the parking lot of the Urban League,
Practicing social distancing.
practicing social distancing.
From 11
Make
to
sure
2.
that they practice
From
social
11
distancing.
from 11 to 2.
11 to 2.
And I also wanted to add this too, kind of piggyback if I got time on Tony, what he was saying about our outreach. So even with that, our main focus, I mean, we have a lot of focus, but our main focus is on those individuals that's 19 to 39, because data shows that those individuals are the ones that are likely to be shot or is going to be likely to do the shooting. So in saying that, I mean, it's kind of hard to walk down the street and say, okay, well, he's one, she's one, she's one. So like Tony said, we provide those outreach services that we're doing outreach. We're touching thousands of folks. We're touching lives. And through that, sometimes the community may identify individuals that may fit that description. So we'll call and work with them. And sometimes we find out just through outreach and communicating that, okay, well, this may be an individual that may fit the criteria. So we take them through a screening process. And once they meet that screening process, then we'll take them and put them in our coaching and mentoring program. And from that, it's HOC all over again. What are your hopes? Soon as they let us know what their hopes are, we're providing those opportunities for them. And then from those opportunities, it's up to them to make that choice. And as soon as they make that choice, they'll play a role in their outcome, or they'll play a role in the consequences. So that when you ask for a plan, that's the kind of plan that we've rolled out with our outreach services to provide that target population that's likely to be shot or shoot someone into our coaching and mentoring services, so they too can understand hope, opportunity, choices, and consequences.
So that's next Friday, the 28th, over at the Urban League on
Parking lot, yes.
The across the street.
Across the street.
Because I'm thinking it's going to be a really small, but the parking lot across the street. What's the address for the Urban League?
3458. I don't know.
Ready Road, 3758, we're ready.
3458.
Is it 3458 Reading
You
Road?
almost got my address.
You almost get your address out.
3458 Reading Road.
So 3458 Reading Road, next Friday, the 28th from
11 to 2.
11 to 2. Listen, and here's something that I think is really important to say. Even if it's not you, like you may say, I got myself together, but you probably have a son, you have a daughter, you have a cousin, a nephew, mama and them, cousin and them. If you know somebody that can benefit for this, get them, bring them. Listen, if you want to social distance, because I get it, give them cab fare if they don't have cab fare. Give them bus fare. Get them there so that they can get some help. That's what's important. The Community Policing Partnering Center has the resources to help you. The community advocates are there to help you. And if you see them out in the community, grab them. You're trying to get out of this, pull them to the side. You don't want to talk to them in front of your boys or your girls. They can give you a card. You can call them up. You can send an email, a text. We live in a wonderful age where it's easy to contact. You got some other things, engagement. You got Tiffany Brown. If you know it's like, listen, Tiffany, we got an issue in my community. This park over here, this situation, can you come out and do something? Listen, if you don't reach out, the Bible say you have not because you ask not. So you need to ask. This is what I want to do before we shut down. I want to give everybody an opportunity to say something real quick, and then I want to throw it to you to close it out, and then I'll do my little last thing. All right? So we're going to go with Ms. Brown.
Yes, I just want to piggyback off of what you said. If you are experiencing any issues of crime, safety, or quality of life issues, feel free to contact the Community Police Partnering Center, or you can email me directly at tbrown@ulgso.org.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Check out In the Zone this Monday coming up, 6 p.m., the Community Police Partnering Center Facebook page. Also, I'm going to just leave you with this: hope, opportunity, choices, and consequences.
Hawk, right?
Hawk.
Hawk. Hawk.
Hawk. Yes.
Hawk. Elder Tony.
We love you. We're here for you. And if you truly want to make a change, and you may not know how, we're willing to walk through that and help you try to make that change.
You got help. You got resources. You got Hawk. You've got the engagement. Elder Tony, and just to let you know, I love that, because if nobody said it to you today, and that's rough, sometimes there's nobody to say it. Elder Tony said that, hey, we love you. I love you. I think everybody at this table loves you. I think to actually get out and do this work, especially in this time, when we'd rather be like locked in the basement somewhere in our bomb shelter. Okay, I just went way 50s. But that's love. That's a concern, and that's what pushes hope. I want to throw this back over to Mrs. Smoot.
So I'm supposed to say something really profound now, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm waiting on.
Okay. The future of our communities is in our hands. How we want to live, what we want to see. It means we have to get out, get engaged to make it happen.
And that is profound, because the future is in our hands. And I think sometimes we forget that. I think sometimes we forget that we have a level of control on where we go. And I'm going to say this again. If you feel that you are a person who maybe you're feeling hopeless, maybe you're feeling lost, maybe you're going, when I look at my past, there's no chance for me. Listen, let me tell you something. Your past should not dictate your presence, and definitely not your future. Whatever you made, wherever you are, whatever you've done, and listen, every one of us is an X something. To what extent we may do it, what we did, some of us aren't X yet because we didn't get caught. But we're still an X something. Don't let that stop you. You understand what I'm saying? Don't let it stop you. Although that's stopping me, and it's telling me that I'm a preacher, so you got to stop me from talking sometime. But for real, don't let your past stop you from having a future and for having a right now. Reach out. Reach out. Our producer, she's going to put up phone numbers and addresses and everything else. Reach out to the community police, wait a minute, let me say, make sure I got it right. The Community Police Partnering Center. Reach out to the advocates. Reach out to Tiffany. She gave you her email. Reach out to, I don't know if you can reach out to Mrs. Smoot, but if you can, reach out to her. Reach out to Derek. Go to the Zone. Go to the barbershop. Remember that you're loved. Stay faithful. Stay healthy.